What's up YouTube? Capital G here. So more information for Maximum Crisis has been revealed, including two new archetypes. One of them is from the anime, the Lyrical Lucinias. I was wondering if they were going to release these cards. They're releasing Wind Witches, so I thought it would make sense that they would release Ruri's archetype as well. I'm going to talk about the Lyrical Lucinias in another video. I'm going to just talk about the True Dracos, the other archetype in this video, and I'm not going to lie, guys, they seem hella interesting, and I'm not even going to put the interesting tag like, just like, I don't really know what else to say. It's just some of their effects are like, whoa. And I kind of like their summoning mechanic. You guys know that over the last couple of booster packs, we've been getting like some Draco cards and some really big worm monsters. I thought Konami was trying to like redesign them as like the Dragon Rulers, but like more balanced versions. It looks like they're building an entire archetype around those. We also know what's going to be the cover card of Maximum Crisis, and it's going to be Supreme King Dragon Zark. I don't know if that's, I would have to assume that's one of Zark's cards. I'm like 5 episodes behind on the anime. I don't think this is one of Yuya's cards. I'm pretty sure that this is Zark's boss monster. If you don't know who Zark is, I guess just watch the anime. You'll find out. So let's talk about this new archetype, right? It's called the True Dracos, and yeah, I thought it was just going to be a whole bunch of like big level 9s, but no. Now, guys, they have spells, traps. It's basically come together as an entire archetype, and they're based around like tributing and blowing their own cards up. So if you've been paying attention, you probably know like a lot of the older ones. So anyways, the first one is True Draco Da'at, the Metatron, Metatron, the Mech Soldier. It's weird that it's a mech soldier, but it's a worm. Like, you hear mech soldier and I just think machine, but no, it's actually a worm. Level 9, 3000 attack, 3000 defense. This card, in my opinion, is the effect is like, holy shit. If you normal summon or set this card, you must tribute 3 monsters or continuous spell slash trap cards you control. This card is unaffected by the same type of card effects as the original type of cards that you use to tribute summon it, monster, spell, and trap. So basically, hypothetically, let's just say that you had 1 monster on the field, you had a continuous spell or trap, and then you had a continuous, I don't know, like spell. Like, let's just say that you had a Call of the Haunted, some random, I don't know, dandelion or some shit, and then you also had like I don't know, let's just think, a D-Fissure for some reason. You could tribute all 3 of those cards, and this card would become basically towers. Yeah, this card would basically become towers. It would be unaffected by monster effects, spell effects, and trap effects. Like, your opponent would basically have to beat over it, or they'd have to kaiju it. Effect number 2 is the most nuts effect I've seen in a little while. If this tribute summon card is destroyed by an opponent's card, battle, or card effect, you can special summon 1 fusion, synchro, or exceed monster from your extra deck that is earth, wind, water, or fire attribute. So basically, this card is like fucking Cyberstein on crack. Like, what? I mean, don't get me wrong, the most common way I assume people are going to get this motherfucker off the board is by kaijuing it if it gets summoned. But the fact that it can just summon things like Naturia Exterio or Blue Eyes Ultimate White Dragon, or Naturia Beat, there's a lot of good extra deck cards, guys. That's kind of fucking scary. You know what I mean? Like, this thing can summon some serious lockdown monsters, so that is actually indeed scary. It seems like, to me, this card is kind of worth building an entire deck around. Next up, we have True Draco Maria Monet, the Phoenix. She's kind of like the other Draco ones. She's a level 9, 2700 attack, 2100 defense. She's a worm. All these Draco cards, they're all worms. So if you guys want to play them with Yang Zings, feel free. You can only use each effect of her once per turn. If this card is in your hand, you can destroy 2 other monsters in your hand or face up on your field, including a wind monster. And if you do, special summon this card. And if you do that, banish 4 cards from the top of your opponent's deck if both the destroyed monsters were wins. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I think this card is just meh. Like, I don't know why would I banish from the top of my opponent's deck? Like, what? How's that relevant? Unless it's like Dark Magician and he just stacked his deck with like Magical Circle or something like that. I don't know. Effect number 2, if this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can add 1 9-win worm monster from your deck to your hand. I mean, it shouldn't get blown up in battle that much. It is 2700, but I don't know. I don't think this card's that good, honestly. Now the new worm guys, and these don't have the same exact, like they're not built exactly like the other ones that I thought were trying to replace the Dragon Rulers. This is True Draco Dynamite Knuckle the Fighter. It's a water worm, level 6, 2500 attack, 2100 defense. If you are tribute summoning this card in face-up attack position, you can tribute a face-up continuous spell or trap card instead of a monster. That is so freaking dope, guys. That means basically if you have, let's just say you're hypothetically playing Monarchs, you could just launch a March of the Monarchs and you can tribute summon this, or you could launch like, if you had like a prime that was face up that was letting you draw cards, you could tribute that and then use it from the graveyard. Once per turn, when an opponent activates a card or effect, if you control this tribute summon card, you can take one True Draco or True King continuous trap card from your deck and either add it to your hand or activate it on your side of the field. That means that this archetype can actually activate their traps like straight from the deck, basically. It's pretty damn spicy, guys. Next up is the True Draco Ignis, Heat the Warrior. Honestly, as soon as I saw this card, I was like, this is Ignister, right? The artwork, it looks so similar to Ignister. The summoning conditions are basically the same for all of these, like for all the tribute ones, guys. Basically, you can just send a face-up continuous spell or trap card instead of tribute summoning an actual monster. This one is a little different. This one, if your opponent activates an effect or a card, while you have this tribute summon monster, you can take a True King or True Draco continuous spell card and add it to your hand or activate it. So this one activates or adds to your hand a trap. This one adds or activates a spell card. The stats, they're pretty similar, 25, 24. I mean, they're basically like Monarch level. And then this is the third one. The third one is, again, same summoning conditions. This is True Draco Majesty Maiden the Mage. That name is long for no reason. I mean, honestly, she kind of looks like a lolly. I guess, you know, you gotta have like the token lolly because it's Japan and whatnot. Her effect basically adds, instead of a spell or trap, her effect just adds a monster. It adds a True King or a True Draco monster from your deck to your hand. I would probably say this one isn't as good as the other ones, because the other ones you get to you don't just get to add the card to your hand, you get to activate it immediately, especially for like a trap. Traps usually work on both players' turns, so that seems really good. And then let me go to the spells and traps, and then I'll cover that Predator Plant card. They have their own XC, because obviously we know that they have a bunch of level 9 monsters. It's called True King VFD the Beast. Okay, it's almost certainly, damn, it looks pretty damn strong. It's rank 9, 3000 attack, 3000 defense. It's gonna be at least an ultra rare. Let's just bank on that, because the ultra rare in Japan. It requires 2 level 9 monsters or more. You can, I guess, use 5, 6, 7. Well, I don't know how you get 7, but let's just say 5, or you can use up to 5. Once per turn, during each player's turn, you can detach 1 XC material from this card, then declare 1 attribute. Face-up monsters on the field become monsters of that attribute. Monsters your opponent controls with that attribute cannot activate their effects. Also, they cannot attack. These changes last until the end of the turn. So it's kind of like a way better version of something like Breakthrough Skill, because your opponent can't even attempt to activate monster effects and they can attack. That's pretty good, especially considering this monster is technically generic. Thank God this wasn't a level 8, because like man, Blue Eyes would have just blasted this shit in so quick. Then we have the effect number 2. While this card is in your monster zone, if you would destroy a monster with the effect of a True King monster in your hand, you can destroy opponent's monsters instead. So we know that all the True Kings, like a lot of them, the level 9 guys, they like to summon themselves by blowing cards up on your side of the field, possibly. This means that you can now use your opponent's monsters and you can just blow those up to summon them. It's actually not that bad at all. Then they have their card, True Draco Succession. It's a continuous spell or trap. I actually like this one a lot. You can only use each effect once per turn. Effect number 1 during your main phase. You can draw 1 card for each True King or True Draco card, monster, spell, or trap that was sent to the graveyard this turn. This seems like that could be really good, guys, because think about this, right? If you have 1 copy of this, and then you tribute summon for one of your like level 6s or 5s, and it gets hit with like a Solemn Warning, you could just activate another copy and you draw like 2 cards instantly, because it doesn't say anything about, you know, like they have to be sent from it doesn't say that they have to be sent from the field to the graveyard. It just says sent to the graveyard. So that's, I can see you easily drawing like 2-3 cards per turn with this. Effect number 2, during your main phase, you can immediately after this effect resolves, tribute summon 1 True King or True Draco monster. Okay, that's cool. More tribute summons the better. Effect number 3, and this is I think the effect that makes this a mandatory 3 of in this deck, although it probably was honestly. If this card is sent from the spell or trap zone to the graveyard, you can target 1 spell or trap on the field and destroy it. This means that if this card is face up and you use it essentially to tribute summon one of your Dracos, it basically acts as just like an MST. You just get the pop summon on your opponent's side of the field, so it basically will always pay for itself. It kind of reminds me of like Prime, getting a little bit of like dual utility. And then they do have their own field spell, which is actually pretty good too. It's called Draconic Diagram. Let's see, it's a field spell. What's it called? All True King or True Draco monsters gain 300 attack and defense. Where on earth have we seen that before? Only on like every single field spell ever in the last 2 years. Effect number 2, while this card is in the field spell zone, each tribute summoned True King or True Draco monster cannot be destroyed by battle once per turn. I kind of would have liked it if they couldn't be targeted, or they couldn't be, I would have rather had like Majesty-ish effects, because I mean they're already like 24 and 2500. That's pretty big, you know what I mean? And then effect number 3, once per turn, you can destroy 1 other card you control or have in your hand. If you do, add 1 True King or True Draco card from your deck to your hand. So basically, it's just a rota. You just destroy like a card that you control in your hand. So basically, if you destroy one of your Dracos, again, that's just another card that you get to draw off of Succession. So I don't know. This deck looks like this card's going to be a lot of draw power. And then the last card is actually called Revival of the True King. It's a trap. I don't really want to go over this card because it has not been fully translated. You see right here, it says you cannot activate this card's, and then it says question mark and question mark in the same. I'm like, I don't really know what this is. You know what I mean? It hasn't been properly translated. There's another part right here where it says during your opponent's something phase. Like, that's important. I got to know what phase it is before I can, you know, make a valid opinion on the card. So I'll wait for that one to be like fully translated, and then I'll talk about that one in another video. But what do you guys think of the True Draco archetype, or I guess you can call it True Draco, Draco King? Let's just call it Dracos. They seem hella interesting to me. It's almost like a weird mix between Monarchs and Dragon Rulers, you know what I mean? Anyways, let me know that in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already.